Welcome in, everybody. Y'all were treated to the old GC Live video and a black screen because I'm Chris Clark and I am flying completely solo today. As you can see, my colleague Wes Mitchell not with me today, taking care of some things on the road, taking care of some real work while I'm sitting around doing nothing, just chatting with all you guys. But good to have you here. Good to see everybody here. Hopefully you are on our stream, our video live stream on YouTube, youtube.com/GamecockCentral. If not, on Facebook, on Twitter. What's up, everybody? Hope you're doing well. This is GC Live. I'm Chris Clark from GamecockCentral.com and hope everybody is doing really well today. Yeah, hit one of the wrong buttons, so you missed the Luke Doty football intro that you're accustomed to. Sorry for that. That's what happens. What's going on, Gamecock Ryan? First comment in today. Numbers already pretty good, so give a few minutes for everybody to get in, but hope everybody's doing well today. A ton to cover. Even though my partner in crime, Wes Mitchell, is not with us today, there is still a ton to cover in the world of the Gamecocks. You probably saw that the title of our show revolves around Garnet Trust Connect. Don't want to bury the lead too much, so we will get into that pretty soon to tell you. You may say, what in the world is Garnet Trust? What in the world is Garnet Trust Connect? I'll fill you in on that, but also want to chat with you about Gamecock football, about recruiting, about hoops recruiting. There was some news there today. Plenty of stuff on GamecockCentral.com. So, Benjamin DeRosia, I hope I pronounced your name right. Let me know if not. Coach Lamont Paris making money moves, y'all. So, yeah, indeed, the Gamecocks have now landed a string of transfers. Hayden Brown from the Citadel is the first one you saw. Michi Johnson from Ohio State. And then from Coastal Carolina today, Ibram Deba. And I am very likely, y'all, butchering that name. Really need to rely. Even our resident expert, Jamie Shaw, was not quite sure about that one yesterday. But Ibram Deba from Coastal Carolina, formerly of Coastal Carolina, a Sweden native, actually, committed to South Carolina today. Jamie Shaw from On 3 had that news, also confirmed by Colin Taylor earlier today. Ibram Deba committing to the Gamecocks earlier today, averaged 8.1 points, 5.4 assists, 4.8 rebounds a game, shooting 80% from the free throw line. 2022 Basketball Classic All-Tournament Team, 2021 President's List, the Sun Belt Conference Commissioners List. In 2021-2022, started 31 of 32 games, led the team and the conference. Did not know this until earlier today. Led the Sun Belt in assists, 173 in total. Also led them in assists per game with 5.5. So interesting statistical mark there on Deba. When we talked with Jamie Shaw on Monday, Wes Mitchell and I had him here on GC Live, and that was one of the things he mentioned is that he felt like Deba was a talented player and a guy that, given his size, length, skill set, probably could stand to even take a few more shots a game. When you look at South Carolina's roster, maybe he's a guy that ends up taking some more shots for you. Maybe that's a nice role for him. Obviously, he can facilitate the basketball. He can be a guy that can rebound for you in his position, but also someone who's pretty good from the free throw line, 80%, can shoot threes, probably not classified with just looking percentage-wise as a strong suit, but can do that. So maybe, given South Carolina's roster situation, this is a guy that you look to go and take some more shots for you. Chris Turnberg, couple questions weighing in on Facebook. How you doing, Chris? Loyal watcher and listener. Who are the new football commits? Are we going to be the new tight end U? Yeah, certainly. I mean, look, interesting move. There are still three unannounced, I guess you could say is the best word. 3 unannounced welcome homes from the football team. We, as usual, if we know who they are and if they've got announcements set or they want to keep it quiet, that's what we're going to do. We're going to honor that. Couple of them, no real timeline. One of them sooner than later is kind of what I'll give you there. But Nate Adkins committing to the Gamecocks this week. out of East Tennessee State. He's the son of Greg Adkins. So that was the most recent welcome home that was subsequently revealed. Very interesting player in terms of his ability to block. He's come along as a pass catcher, former offensive lineman, played defense in high school, also played baseball, but a guy that drew some interest out of the portal and is supposedly a really good player, someone that, you look back at the spring, because Jaheim Bell's on the shelf, because Austin Stogner's not there, you got Trey Kenyon out there for part of the spring. You got Chad Terrell and you got walk-ons. Chad Terrell moving over from receiver. So going to look a lot different this preseason, right? Because then you're going to have, Bell, not a true tight end, but that wide back role. You will have Jaheim Bell. You'll have Trey Kenyon back, who took a big step forward last year. You'll have Austin Stogner, who's a proven guy. And now you'll have Nate Atkins, who's played a lot of ball. Greg S. on YouTube, another question here about Adkins' son. Is he going to be on scholarship? Yes. So to clarify, he is the final piece from a scholarship perspective of the 2022 class. So that is the last initial counter for that class out of the transfer portal. And just in general, Corey Wells from Facebook asking about Tanner Bailey. Haven't heard anything about Tanner Bailey in a while. He's not on campus yet. Will be on campus this summer, and certainly a guy that the staff believes has a high upside. And you're right, though, kind of a forgotten man because, obviously a lot of the talk is centered around Spencer Rattler. You look at the backup quarterback situation. You've got Luke Doty, who's now back healthy and did some good things during spring. You've got Colton Gauthier. You got Braden Davis, who's Tanner Bailey's colleague, if you will, from that 2022 class, enrolled early. Had a touchdown in the spring game. So good stuff there from Braden Davis in the spring game, and he has a lot of athletic upside. You kind of almost forget about Tanner Bailey, who's this 4-star guy you've got tucked away in your recruiting class who will arrive this summer. And the thing you got to remember about Tanner Bailey, guys, is that this was a top target early for Shane Beamer and Marcus Satterfield in the 2022 class. Of course, Gunnar Stockton decommitted from South Carolina, committed under Will Muschamp, subsequently decommitted at the time of, Shane Beamer got the job. Then it was, okay, who's going to be the 2022 quarterback? Tanner Bailey was the guy they went after very early in the process. Braden Davis came along later. Tanner Bailey was at one time committed to Oregon. So kept that relationship going, and they were able to nab kind of what it ended up being kind of a surprise commitment from Tanner Bailey. Before I go any further, let me tell you guys about our show sponsor, and that is, of course, Clint Hammond. You see him up there from the Mortgage Network. Let me put him up here on the screen for you, those of you on the stream. Clint Hammond is the branch manager of the Columbia Mortgage Network. Phone number, 803-576-4450. His NMLS number is 71597. There you see Clint's smiling face and that nice suit. He is the man. If you have any questions, let's just put it this way, any mortgage-related questions, hit Clint with them, 803-576-4450, or C. Hammond at mortgagenetwork.com. Long time presenting sponsor here of GC Live. Does an amazing job. Big Gamecock fan, big supporter of the show and of GamecockCentral.com. So any mortgage-related stuff, make sure you go to Clint, who is an expert on that stuff. What's up, Tyler Ballou? How you doing, man? Hope you're doing well. Appreciate you tuning into the show. Yeah, if you're just now joining, I know there's some people that were not here yet. Ibrima Deba, not sure if I got that pronunciation correct. He commits to the Gamecocks as a transfer, another transfer for Lamont Paris in the South Carolina basketball team. So good news there for Lamont Paris following the commitment of Hayden Brown from the Citadel and Michi Johnson from Ohio State. So another get for them. Interesting, talent there. Lots of news on the front page of GamecockCentral.com. There's a little bit more on Deba. Mike Yuva has his NFL draft guide with that coming around the corner. A really cool piece from Chris Wellbaum on women's basketball. He went back and charted and watched all of Bree Beal's defensive stops, which there were many more stops than baskets scored on her during the NCAA tournament. Go check that out. Shane Beamer discussed discussed recruiting, the end of spring practice on the Welcome Home Tour, the annual summer tour of head coaches that began on Tuesday night in Lancaster. Not a lot of really, groundbreaking new stuff. One thing he did talk about, and he talked about this at the Gamecock Gala when we were able to catch up with Shane Beamer. He talked a lot about the recruiting impact of the spring game. And have you heard, was there any kind of positive not fallout, but was there any positive momentum from that? And he mentioned that he talked to tons of recruits, from that standpoint. Talked about the depth of the football team. Last year, this was a team that they were 78, 79 guys out of the full 85 on scholarship. Now, certainly they're going to be at a full 85. Also gave an update on a couple key Gamecocks. Jaheim Bell, who we mentioned earlier in the show, those guys are starting exams right now, but expecting Jaheim and David Spalding, who split time with Carlins Patel last year at the nickel spot. He said that he's expecting to get both those guys back for summer workouts. Spalding, of course, did have surgery, whereas Bell didn't. So Spalding a little bit farther behind, but certainly by preseason camp, they're going to be good to go. So that kicked off the Welcome Home Tour last night in Lancaster. Not a ton of new stuff, really, honestly, from Shane Beamer. He will be in Spartanburg tonight. That is where my colleague Wes Mitchell will be. Shout out Wes Mitchell. He's going to be in Spartanburg tonight, checking out Beams and the rest of the crew at the Welcome Home Tour. Got any questions about Gamecock football? Throw them in the chat, and I'll be glad to answer those. Here's a few others. Chris Turnberg has Coach Beamer finalized the roster. Not quite yet. Still some certainly a possibility of some defections. Nothing yet. Craig Godwin from YouTube asks if Rick Sandage is healthy yet. Rick Sandage did not participate at the end of spring practice. He just had on a jersey and basically street clothes on the sideline of the spring game. So still not a go for Rick Sandage yet. And Tyler asking, and Gamecock Ryan says the same thing. Is Dante Reno Wes's little brother? They look alike, at least cousins. And not alone in that thought. Gamecock Ryan thinks the same thing. No relation that I know of, but I will say, speaking of Dante Reno, and by the way, he's the 2024 quarterback from Connecticut, school up in Connecticut, big top target for South Carolina in that class. Kendall Smith had an awesome piece, video interview with Dante Reno, kind of diving in, going inside that recruitment. Check that out as well. Free plug on GamecockCentral.com. And Benjamin also asks, what are our chances with Malachi Smith? If some of you guys are wondering, guys and girls asking who Malachi Smith is, he is Lamont Paris's best player from his last Chattanooga team. Malachi had formerly said he would go into the NBA draft. Now is in the transfer portal. So with Lamont Paris, South Carolina, with several former staffers from the Chattanooga staff now at South Carolina, that is going to be a natural fit. A guy of his talent, and he is a talented player, going to have some other suitors as well coming after him. So we'll see. We know that with Lamont Paris, obviously the bulk of what they're going to be doing, or basically all of what they're going to be doing on the recruiting front, is going to be in the transfer portal. Do have a couple of high school kids in Daniel Hankins Sanford, Zach Davis coming in, who are holdovers from the Frank Martin era, but everybody else is expected to come from the portal. So Malachi Smith, now that he is in the portal, is certainly going to be a guy to watch. All right, let me step back for just a minute and let me tell you guys a little bit about Garnet Trust Connect. Now, first of all, if you don't know what Garnet Trust is a standalone organization, same people involved with GamecockCentral.com, different company. And what we do at Garnet Trust is we have two arms, one for businesses, really. Businesses who want to get involved with NIL have no idea what to do. What are the rules? How do you get endorsements from players? How do you participate in that space? And the other is basically crowdfunding. A lot of you guys may have read about NIL collectives. That part of Garnet Trust is basically what that is. And these have popped up all over the country. So Garnet Trust basically allows fans to join as members. You get different perks. Check those out on join.garnettrust.com. See what you're interested in. Exclusive athlete experiences, a lot of cool things that we're building out at Garnet Trust. And then we turn around and we use those funds to do legal and compliant deals with NIL deals with current South Carolina student athletes. So done some really cool stuff. If you're on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/GamecockCentral, I'm sure you've seen the Spencer Rattler Garnet Trust interview that 360 Clean funded. You've seen other sponsored interviews we've done. We've seen the charity events that Garnet Trust has been part of with the football team. A lot of really cool stuff. Earlier today, we've been working super hard on this. Garnet Trust launched Garnet Trust Connect. After the show, go check it out. Connect.garnettrust.com. What it is an athlete directory. Not a lot of athletes in there yet, but ultimately we believe that all South Carolina student athletes are going to be in there. There's 500 plus student athletes that participate in sports at South Carolina, whether it's men's sports, women's sports, scholarships, walk-ons, and Garnet Trust is offering every current and eligible student athlete an NIL deal to be a part of Garnet Trust Connect. You can go on there, search for players, search by sport, and you can find their profiles, which will have the social media info for the players. Has a commission-based affiliate program for the players if you join Garnet Trust, and links to their merchandise shops if they have them, other NIL initiatives. Really cool, really unique thing in the NIL space. A lot of other programs around the country doing big things in the NIL space. Florida, the Gator Collective recently partnered with the Gator Guard, $5 million in commitments. Clemson just launched a collective, $5 million in commitments. Texas A&M has been confirmed now. It's been rumored, now confirmed that they've done millions of dollars of NIL deals. So a lot of people have been asking us, been wondering, what is South Carolina doing on the NIL front? The university, per the laws, can't be directly involved in those things, but there are organizations around the country that do NIL deals with players and are a part of that space. Garnet Trust is that for South Carolina student athletes. So trust.com, check it out. If anybody has any questions, let me know about that. We are going to keep this show relatively short today because it is launch day for Garnet Trust Connect. We've been busy with a lot of that stuff. There are a lot of other things going on. One of them that I wanted to touch on before we got out of here, and I'll take more questions before we leave. Again, abbreviated and I know impromptu show. NFL draft, of course, coming up. This weekend, and a few Gamecocks, that are being monitored. You've got JJ Enagbare, you got Zaquandre White, Kevin Harris, Jalen Foster. A lot of people wondering. Reached out for some feedback earlier with some people that I normally chat with, and trying to get some feedback on what's the expectations for Gamecocks in the draft. And not surprisingly, it does look like JJ Enagbare is going to be, the top guy. Now, in some mock drafts, I've seen Enagbare first round, second round. It seems like he's probably going to be, third, fourth round type, like probably more day 3 at this point, from my understanding. Now on draft day, depending on how the board falls, guys can always go up a little. They can certainly always go down, but that's kind of the expectation right now. And my question to the person I was talking with was why kind of the slip? Because again, you saw a lot of stuff that would have JJ preseason, maybe first round slip in there, certainly in the second round. And really, I got back that a lot of that was kind of more media. He had been probably more pegged in that maybe second at the best, but third to fifth round. There are some other guys that could see their names, hear their names called. What I got back was that Zaquandre White, Kevin Harris, Jalen Foster, Nick Muse, those would be the guys that would probably, they would have the best chance of maybe getting selected, but it would be at the back half of the draft, if not preferred free agent opportunities for those guys. So there will be some Gamecocks after this weekend that are going to ultimately latch on with NFL teams. JJ Nibari expected to be a draft pick. The other guys, when you get into that range, when you get into that feedback of 5th to 7th round range, that's when it's almost not surprising if a guy goes in the 5th, and it's not really a surprise if he slips all the way undrafted. It can be that close with certain guys, but Gamecocks will be latching on with NFL teams starting this weekend. So that'll be really cool to see. Before we get out of here, lots of comments today. When you see comments here on GC Live, they're always brought to you by our good friends at Liberty Tax, Larry and his crew. Overcome your tax anxiety. Now, it is April 27th. So you are way, my friends, past the deadline if you have not done your taxes. So your tax anxiety probably either didn't have it to start with or it's at an all-time high. So if you didn't do them, I would think your tax anxiety is and should be high. Give those guys at Liberty Tax a call. Let them help you put a plan together for how to go back and figure things out, or even for next year. Start thinking about next year. Maybe you're a business owner, you need to worry about estimated taxes, things like that. 803-462-5576. The good folks over at Liberty Tax sponsoring us here on GC Live. We appreciate them. And of course, we appreciate Clint Hammond. Appreciate everybody for being in here on the show today. Go check out GamecockCentral.com. Check out Garnet Trust Connect at connect.garnettrust.com. A lot of really cool stuff going on in Gamecock land. Busy time. Our crew is pounding the pavement at Gamecock Central, covering things for you guys. So make sure you check us out. Again, going to abbreviate the show today because my colleague Wes Mitchell isn't here. You guys probably don't want to hear me ramble on forever and ever. If you got any questions, come visit us over on GamecockCentral.com. Would love to have you as a member. Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate you and everything you do to support us at Gamecock Central and here on the show. So going to see you guys next time. Probably, I don't want to lock it in, but probably Friday we'll return, if not sometime soon. And I will have my partner in crime, Wes, back with us. So no Wes, I'm just Chris. And hope everyone has a great day and a great rest of the week. Have a good one.